Okay, so everyone, welcome back to Kol Shira in partnership with Breslov.org. Of course, we always do that, always in partners with Breslov.org, and of course, Yeshiva Teresh Shemin. And this week is Parshat Tetzaveh. It's a very interesting parsha, right? Number one, this parsha is a parsha where you don't find Moshe Rabbeinu's name, right? V'ata Tetzaveh el Bnei Yisrael. It doesn't say Vaydaber Hashem el Moshe leimar daber el Bnei Yisrael. V'ata Tetzaveh el es Bnei Yisrael. Right? Interesting, right? So we know why, right? We know why, right? When Moshe Rabbeinu said to Mata Kodesh Baruch Hu, listen, after the Ched Egel, after the sin of the golden calf, Hashem said, I want to destroy the Jewish people. And Moshe Rabbeinu said, well, if you do that, I don't want to be part of yours, part of this Torah. This Torah I don't want to be part of. So take me out, strike my name from the Torah. Strike my name from the Torah. So what happened? We know Hashem forgave the Jewish people, but yet when a tzaddik says something, it makes a big roshim, it makes a big impression, right? Whenever a tzaddik says something. So the fact that Moshe Rabbeinu even made a statement, take me out of your sefer, so therefore, this parsha we don't find Moshe Rabbeinu's name in here. There's a machlekes between the Rambam and the Ramban, right? The Rambam says that the Torah is out of sequence. The Ramban says no, it's in sequence, right? But it makes more. For us to understand why the whole Meleches HaMishkan and the whole tzivoy to make the Mishkan, the whole tzivoy of the Big Day Kahuna, and everything only happened after the Ched Egel, after the sin of the golden calf, right? Hashem forgave it, and why? As we saw last week. And it was Kadosh Baruch Hu said, "Give something, but what? Yidvenu libay. Whatever is dear to you, give that to be the truma, right? Right? Because again, why? Because we gave our money. Unfortunately, we gave our money to partake in the sin of the golden calf, right? Right. We did that. We gave a lot of gold, silver, all that stuff that we gave. So now Hashem said, "Now give to me," and that was the rectification. That's the rectification for the sin. All right. Because now instead of giving to the shmad, to the other side, you're giving it to the Beis Hamikdash. Unbelievable. Okay. So there's many things to talk about. Many things to talk about. One of the main things to talk about is, if last week we spoke about the Mishkan, right? We spoke about the Kalim in the Mishkan, right? The whole construction of the Mishkan, right? The Urios and the coverings of the Mishkan and everything, right? And you would think that this week's parsha, you would talk about what? The Karbonos. Right? What are you going to do now in the Mishkan? What's the whole purpose of the Mishkan? Right? To bring the Karbonos. But rather, the Torah starts off, talks about the Shemen Zayizach. You have to use the pure oil to light the menorah. Interesting, right? Isn't that an interesting idea? Right? There's the whole, you build the Mishkan, but now it's the menorah. So we see how important the menorah is, right? We see the menorah is a very, very important thing, right? Because again, right away you see the Torah introduces the whole idea of the menorah and lighting of the menorah right after the instruction on how to build the Mishkan. Okay. There's many ideas, many things to talk about. We could just fill in one question, one thing from last week. I'd like to bring in. I saw something so very, very nice. The Medrash says that, and I'm sure you know also. The Medrash says that Moshe Rabbeinu had a little didn't understand how to build to make the menorah. He didn't understand, and and he went to Shemayim, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave him instructions, right? showed him, okay, so Moshe Rabbeinu, you do it like this. This is how you do it. And he came down and he forgot. This is, the Medrash says. The Medrash says he forgot. He went back again and he forgot. But then it says that Betzalel, which is Betzel Kel, right? Betzel Kel. Betzalel is in the shade, in the shadow, so to say, of HaKodesh, of Hashem. Right? He's in the shade of his Rebbe, Moshe Rabbeinu. He makes the menorah right away. Right? He makes the menorah miyad, right away. So everyone's asking, why we don't understand it. What is this? Moshe Rabbeinu was able to understand everything, but Moshe Rabbeinu couldn't understand the idea on how to make the menorah. It's a good question, no? Right? In other words, all the things in the Mishkan. I mean, to make the shulchan was that so simple? I mean, with those the way it was built there with the shelves and to make the crown around it and all of the things in the aron and what about the kruvim? Right? No questions on the kruvim, right? No question on the kruvim, right? Unbelievable, right? The Medrash said that the kruvim, the wings used to flutter. That's why the Zohar says that the kruvim are like our lungs. They're like our lungs. The lungs they flutter, right? And the lungs keep the heart cool, right? Or else the heart would get too hot. You know that? Did you know that, Ernie?
I didn't know that. No, really.
Yeah, the lungs are very important. They're very important. They keep the heart cool. They keep the heart cool. So the heart doesn't overwork and it doesn't, unbelievable. And that's the kruvim, the cherub. I think they call them the cherubs in English. The cherubs, those cherub, right? Okay, I don't know another word, so we'll use the word cherub. Okay, that's what they were, right? So we know that that was on top of the kaparas, the cover of the aron, right? And the kruvim were on top of that. Okay. All these things Moshe Rabbeinu knew how to do, no question. But he has a question on the menorah. I don't know. Let me ask you guys a question. Rabbi Yehuda, I'm sure you were in Yerushalayim, and you were in the old city. And as you go to the old city, you see there's a beautiful showcase, and they have a menorah in there, right? Made by the Mechon HaMikdash, right? Did you see it, Rabbi Yehuda?
Yeah, the gold color.
No, they say it's actually gold. They say it's mamish gold. They spent millions of dollars on the gold, and they made it out of one piece. And according to Mechon HaMikdash, this menorah is ready to go into the Beis HaMikdash.
Wow.
This menorah is ready. Now, I have to ask you a question. So now, wait a second. So these guys today, right, they're smart, they're good people, right? They're big tzaddikim, they're great people. But they're nowhere near on Moshe Rabbeinu's level, right? They're not on Moshe Rabbeinu's level. Nobody. There's nobody alive. What?
Nobody is in this level.
Nobody. No, there's no rabbi. There's no person. No one near on Moshe Rabbeinu's level. However, Moshe Rabbeinu could make the menorah, but they were able to make the menorah. It's a good question, right? Good question. So here, let's understand it like this, okay? On the menorah, if you count up, there were the kaftarim, there were the little buttons, right? Like a little button-shaped thing. You had the prachim, you had the flowers, you had the geviyim, those cups. They were like cups, right? So if you count them up, all of the things together, right, on the 7 branches, you'll see there were 49 ornaments. 49 ornaments, okay? 49. It's not stam, right? Not stam. Everything's very carefully calculated. 49, right? Okay. Now we know that there are 49 days in Sfira. There are 49 levels of holiness, right? But there's also the 50th level. The 50th level, the Shara Chamishim, which is the 50th level. When do we get to Shara Chamishim? On Shavuos, right? Shavuos, right? We count from from Pesach, right? The B'machros Hashar. We count the second night, right? We start counting B'machros Hashabbos, right? We start counting, and then we count the 49 days to get the Shavuos. When we get to the Shavuos, The next day is the 50th day, and that's Kabbalah Satayra. You agree with that? That's right. That's correct.
Right.
That's the 50th gate. That's the 50th gate. Okay. The 50th gate is also connected to the idea of when we say Shema. We learned this idea many times. Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad. Right. There's 25 letters in the sentence of Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad. And then the statement that we make after that is we say Baruch Shem Kivod Malchuso Leolam Va'ed. Right. That's what we say. Right. We say it quietly. Right. There's 24 letters in there. Did you know that? 25 and 24 makes how much? 49. 49. I get to the 49th gate again. 49. Moshe Rabbeinu though was so high. Moshe Rabbeinu was really on the 50th level. He was on the 50th level. However, Moshe Rabbeinu did not realize, and he didn't think he could be on that level. Why? Moshe Rabbeinu is Anav Mikol Adam, right? He's Anav Mikol Adam. Now, we know that it says in the Mishkan, when you make the Mishkan, it says Mishkan, Mishkan. It says it twice. So Rashi says, why does it say Mishkan and then Ha-Mishkan and then Mishkan? It says one first time is when the Mishkan is established, the Mishkan is erect and it's functioning. That's why it says Ha-Mishkan. And it says Mishkan again. It says even when the Mishkan is taken apart, even when the Mishkan is in its Churban, the Mishkan will still protect us. The Mishkan is always there to protect us. And that's why it's so important. We say the Karbanos, right? And we talk about in the Pita Makatoris, we talk about in the Karbanos, we talk about the Beis HaMikdash, right? We always want to talk about the Beis HaMikdash. When we finish Shmon Esrei, what do we talk about? We talk about the Beis HaMikdash, right? We want to always reconnect ourselves to the Beis HaMikdash. If you connect yourself to the Beis HaMikdash, you're connecting yourself to the protection. You get the protection of the Beis HaMikdash, okay? Now, HaKadosh Baruch Hu told Aharon HaKohen, right, that when there was the inauguration of the Mishkan, right, when it was the beginning of Chodesh Nisan, right, Aleph Chodesh Nisan. So we started the month of Nisan. We started to do the inauguration of the Mishkan. So every Shevet, every one of the tribes of the 12 tribes brought a sacrifice, except for Levi. Levi, if you take a look, does not have a set of karbanos. So Aharon said to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, he felt a little bit slighted. Here I'm bringing all the karbanos for all the tribes, but for my own shevet, we don't have a carbon. So Hashem said that your part is greater than the other part, than everyone else's part. So Aaron said to Hashem, what do you mean? Hashem said, because you're going to light the menorah. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu Aaron said to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, but Hashem, wait a minute. We know that your light is Memale Kol Almin, Misaviv Kol Almin. Your light fills all worlds. Your light surrounds all worlds. So what's my few candles that I'm going to light? The 7 candles I'm going to light on the menorah in the Mishkan. How is that going to give light? How is that going to help? Right? But Ernie, like when it's very bright outside, right? The lights on. If you light a candle, okay, so you'll see the candle is lit, but it's not going to really help you much, right?
Right.
Right. But let's say it was the middle of the night and there's a blackout, right? No light, right? No, it happens sometimes, right? Happens, right? Right? There's no light. Now you light that candle. Oh, wait a minute. Now that's something special, right? Now the candle's special, right? There's no light, so the candle is special. Hashem said to Aaron HaKohen that I'm going to put out, Hashem says to Aaron, I'm going to put out my light and use your light to light my light. Amazing, right? Amazing. Now, really, the light of the menorah and this idea really goes on and carries on for eternity. It's always there for us to tap into. Anytime we light candles, right? We light candles on Friday night. So we know it's a mitzvah to look at the candles, right? You're supposed to look at the candles. A lot of people, when they're making kiddush, they're looking at the candles. Do you do that? Do you have a minute like that to look at the candles? You want to see, at least see the candles. You want to see the candles, right? You light a yard side candle, right? We say, Ner Hashem Nishmas Adam, right? Ner Hashem Nishmas Adam, right? We know when the person passes away, we remember the person, we light a candle, correct? We light a candle.
Right.
All these candles we learned in the time of Hanukkah. We learned from the Kavayosher. He brought from the beautiful teaching from the Arizal, how every candle that you light for a mitzvah is something special. You could learn, you could look at it, and you can actually find in there a little hint of the Aragon is the hidden light. HaKadosh Baruch Hu's Ratzon, HaKadosh Baruch Hu's light is found in all of these special candles that we light. Okay, that we do still today. That we still do. We do that. We do that today. There's a Ner Tamid, right? There's a mitzvah to light a Ner Tamid, right? Candles are a big thing in Yiddishkeit, very big. Okay, now Moshe Rabbeinu, again, back to the question. So Moshe Rabbeinu is able to make all the kelim and do all of the things, but he's not able to make the menorah. All right, he can't make the menorah. It wasn't here we go. So let's define this. It wasn't the fact that he wasn't able to make the physical menorah. He didn't understand, how am I going to make a menorah? How am I going to make a candelabra in a way that when it's lit, that's going to touch and affect every Jewish neshama, every Jewish soul for all of eternity? That's what he was trying to do. Hashem said that your light, this light, is going to help light the neshamas of all Klal Yisrael of all time. And Moshe Rabbeinu said, how am I going to do that? That's what he was troubled with. That's what Moshe Rabbeinu was troubled with. But let me tell you something nice. Moshe Rabbeinu was Anav Mikol Adam. He didn't know he's on this 50th gate connected to this place of the Ratzon Sheberatzon of Hashem. He didn't know he was there. But because he didn't know he was there, that means he was able to be there, right? He was able to be there because he didn't know he was there. But Bitzalel, his student, his faithful student, knew the level of his Rebbe. He understood the level of his Rebbe. He understood the level of Moshe Rabbeinu. Bitzalel understood. So Bitzalel said, I understand that my Rebbe is the Anav. He's the humble person. But I know and I believe and I know that he's on the 50th gate. He's on that highest place with Hashem. I know that. But he doesn't know it. So therefore, Moshe Rabbeinu wasn't worried about how he's going to make the menorah. That listen, any craftsman, right? Anyone that's that works with metal, right? Any talented people that work with metals, they'll be able to make a menorah, right? Like we said, Mechona Hamikdash, they made a menorah here. We have one here in Yerushalayim, Kodesh. There's a menorah, right? But that was the point. He wanted to be able to make this menorah should be in a way that it can affect the Jewish people for all eternity. That any time you light a candle, you light a Ner Tamid, you're connecting back to the light of Aharon HaKohen in the Mishkan. Unbelievable understanding to really understand what was the trouble with that. But now let's go on to the Parsha itself. Now, last week's Parsha, we were talking about building of the Mishkan and all of the different details and the schematic, almost like it's a schematic, right? Right? It was a schematic on how to make the Mishkan and all the things that pertain to the Mishkan. Right? Now, this week we talk about the Big Day Kahuna, right? Big Day Kahuna. What's the Big Day Kahuna? The vestments, the garments of the Kohanim, right? There was the Arba Begadim and the Shmona Begadim, right? The Kohen, the regular Kohen had 4 garments, and the Kohen Gadol had 8 vestments, right? He had 8 vestments, 8 garments. Now the Begadim were in a very integral part of the service in the Mishkan, right? Right? So let me ask you a question. If the Kohen decided, I got a new suit. My mother bought me a new suit, and I want to wear the new suit. I got a new suit. I want to wear the new suit. He can wear his new suit, but the carbon is going to be void. The carbon that he brings is not going to work. The carbon only works if he's wearing the proper garments. Do you know that? Did you know that? Where it says, they say that in the second bias, right? In bias sheni, in the second base of Migdash, we didn't have the choshen. The Kohen Gadol didn't have the choshen. It wasn't that he didn't have the choshen itself, because again, if he was chasser the beged, if he didn't have the breastplate, then his service would be invalid. Right? The Kohen Gadol on Yom Kippur had to wear his Shmoyne Begadim. If he didn't have the Shmoyne Begadim and he's doing his service, it's void. It's void. So the question really was the really way to understand it is not that he didn't have the Choshen. Adarabah, he had the Choshen, but it didn't work. It didn't work. He wasn't able to ask the questions to the Choshen to get the answers. Do you understand the difference? Right? He had the Choshen. It wasn't he didn't have the physical Choshen, but the Choshen wasn't doing it. Didn't have the communication lines that it had in Shlomo HaMelech's Beis HaMikdash, where it did work in the second bias. In the second bias with Herodian and all of that stuff, right? In the second bias, it didn't work. But he was wearing the choshen. Okay, we got that? You understand that? Right? He was wearing it, but it wasn't working. Right? Like today we can say, a person is he has his phone, right? He has the phone, but it's not connected. He doesn't have any service, right? Right? You can still carry the phone, right? You can carry the phone. No one's about to call you. You can't make any calls on it, but you can still carry the phone, correct? All right. Now, we understand that? Anyone ever thought of that before? Did we think about these things before? No? All right, fine. There's a beautiful Torah here to understand really about the garments and all of this. It says, V'nosa Aharon es mishpat b'nei Yisrael al libay. He carried the mishpat. What was the mishpat? The choshen. Where did he carry it? Al libay, on his heart. He carried it on his heart. Right? So Aaron's heart was what was covered by the choshen. Look what Rav Nosson says here. Ikka hageyes v'asnasis hu be'inyan hamomon v'achafotzim v'ashira shel adam. The whole idea of a person ever being haughty, of a person being a very arrogant person, comes because the person has a lot of money. He has a lot of fine items, right? He wears a fancy gold watch, and he flaunts his wealth. Right? This is what people do, right? That's where the haughtiness comes from, because of people's things. The kanira bechush sherubam oivdim oilamam al yedei taivus mammon. Most of them, Reb Nosson is saying, most of them wind up dying. They wind up they wind up killing themselves, chasing after all of these things. You see this? Unbelievable, right? Chazal say, right? The rich person is who? Someone that's happy with what he has. That's the person. Okay? They leave the world, they kill themselves, they work many jobs, and they work long hours, and they don't have any connection with their families, they don't have all of these things. Why? Because they're working on amassing more money. More money. Because they want more honor, they want to have more arrogance. Everybody wants to be higher than their level, right? So if the guy can afford, I don't know, let's say a car, right? So the guy can afford to drive in a Chevy. The next thing you know, he buys himself a Cadillac, right? Listen, both cars will take him to the same place, correct? If you went to the dealer and you bought yourself a new Chevy or you bought a new Cadillac, they'll both take you to the same place, right? But the guy that bought the Chevy pays a lot. His monthly payments are a lot less than the guy with the Cadillac, right?
Yeah.
A lot less, right? But people like to go above their means. They like to live over their means, right? They like to live over their means. They want to keep up with the Goldbergs. They want to keep up with the Schwartzes and the Jones and whoever the heck it is, right?
Yeah.
The Jones, yeah, they want to keep up with them.
Yeah.
Right. Well, okay, but in our circles, they want to keep up with Goldberg and Schwartz, right? Yeah, okay. All right, so we understand that, right? We agree with that, right? Each person tries to go a little bit higher than they have to, and then every month they're struggling. How am I going to make this payment, right? They got to borrow more money, they owe more money, they go into more debt, all because they're trying to live higher than their means, okay? Now, okay, we're talking about now the garments, right? People will go and buy themselves a fancy suit. They'll go buy a fancier shirt, right? They want to show off, right? I have this logo, right? Someone has a logo, a certain kind of logo on their shirt. Oh, I'll pay $200 because I have that on there. Really? You need that? But that's what people think. They think they need that. They need to buy a certain briefcase. They need to buy a certain thing. Status, to show their status, right? Status. All about status, okay? But more with the clothing. That's because that clothing in their source, in their shorish, are very, very lofty. Clothing are very, very, very lofty. Machmas shabegodim mishoshim heim gevoyim yoy, bechinas Hashem Molech Geyos Lovash. On Friday we say the Yom, right? Every time we say the Yom every day, we say Hayom Yom Shishi b'Shabbos, and we say Hashem Molech Geyos. Hashem rules with a certain level of arrogance. HaKadosh Baruch Hu does, because again, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is in charge of everything. And it says that Hashem is Malach, is Geyos Lovesh. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, so to say, enclose himself. So when somebody in the world tries to be fancier than they are, then Hashem says, wait a second, that's my covet. Who are you? Who are you? It's my covet. Right? It's my covet. Hashem Malach Geyos. When a person is paigem, he damages this covet of Hashem. Then he says, "No, I'm gonna put the covet for me." Chas v'shalom. Al yedei avoynoisa v'noifel legeyes v'redifas hakavod desitrache shel taves v'havle yolam hazeh. And that's the recipe. When a person tries to live over their means, how dangerous that is. How dangerous that is. Right? Because then again, what he's actually doing is he's saying to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you're not the one I need some covet too. Hey Hashem, I need some covet. But it says Hashem Malach Geyos Lovesh. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, it's the covet belongs to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Okay? And then he winds up falling to the Sitracha, the other side, and he falls, like we said. Is with the garments. And we're talking about garments over here because again, the whole parsha is talking about what? The big day kahuna, right? The garments of the kohanim. So let's talk about a little bit about garments, how it pertains to us as well. All right? So the biggest pagam is in the begadim, is in the garments. When a person tries to wear something and buy things that are not right, that don't fall in the gedder of tznius, right, of modesty, right? You have this problem that people like to buy things and they're not always wearing, they're not always dressing the right way. because of the begodim, right? So we know that they're falling to the other side, the side of the sitracha, the side of the other side. Okay, and we want to stay away from that. So where is the biggest pegam? The biggest pegam starts with the garments, right? Kanira b'chush kama v'kama oivdim elamai dei ridifosam achar begodim v'tachshitim. They want different ornaments. They want different jewelry. Right? They'll buy they'll buy their wife a bigger, fancier diamond ring, something that they can't afford, right? Why? Because they have to show off. Right? Where does it say that? It says, where is that word? Where is that word? Vatis visheyu bevigdoi. Where was that? That was with Yosef Atzadik, right? Who grabbed onto Yosef's garments? You remember? Ashes Paitifa, right? The lady wanted to seduce him, right? So she grabbed onto what? His garment. See that? Look at the word. The Torah says, "Vatishvesheyu bevigdoi." She grabbed on his garment. All of this is the crooked mishpat, crooked judgment, because the guy is not judging himself in the right way. Each person has to go according to his level, where he stands in life. He should live in his house and buy things that he can afford. Not that he should go into debt, chas v'sholem. Because someone will say, "Oh, look at this guy. Who needs that? It's going to drive the guy."
Are we saying Yosef's garment shouldn't be that fan? Are we saying that Yosef's garment was too fancy?
No. We're showing. No, good order, Ernie. Very good. No, we're showing here how the sitrach on the other side is trying to grab onto our garments, right? Ashes Potiphar was trying to grab Yosef, right? She wanted him, but what? She grabbed onto his garment. Showing that the sitrach on the other side, the Yetzer Hara, is trying to attack us with the garments. That was the reference, but it was a very good point.
Okay.
Very good point. Excellent.
Okay, all right,
Okay, look at this. The person shouldn't desire, right? He shouldn't loathe things that are not his, and he's always looking at what everyone else has and what he can use because of what they have. You understand? This is a terrible thing, and this is an evus of judgment. This is the evus. This is the crookedness of judgment when a person does that. All right, l'savas mashein v'ilay. L'staka b'chol dover rak ala tachlis. You have to look at everything for the tachlis. What's my purpose in this world? What am I here for? Am I here for to have this more things, more items? What am I going to take these things with me? Right at the end, after 120, the person gets put in the ground. Right. Is the person buried with any tachshitim? With any, if he had a fancy Rolex watch, they're not going to bury him with his fancy Rolex watch. But that watch drove him crazy all his life, right? How he was making payments on it, right? Oh, and then he was so worried about it, right? It drove him crazy all his life. But really, if a person's supposed to go, this is the main point here. What's my tachlis? What's my purpose? What am I in this world for? Am I in this world to get closer to Hashem? Am I in this world to do more chasadim, to do more chesed? Am I in this world to learn more Torah, to daven, to do hisbodedus, to talk to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, more kedusha, more mikvah, more tefillah, more avodas Hashem? This is what we're here for. This is what we're here in the world for. Rak al tachlis sheyagia mizeh kavod laHashem yisbarach. I want to make my tachlis is that the kavod it'll be. I want to make the kiddush Hashem. You hear this? The person wants to make a kiddush Hashem. He wants to honor Hashem. He wants to bring honor to Hashem. Right? He wants to bring honor to Hashem. We know the Gemara brings down that there's some averis a person does, right? That what do you call Yom Kippur is mechaper, right? Most things Yom Kippur is mechaper is forgives us on when we pass. The person makes it to Yom Kippur and he passes through Yom Kippur successfully. So Yom Kippur forgives him, he gets kapara, he gets forgiveness for the things that he did wrong. Okay, but there are certain things that he can't get forgiveness for until the day he dies. And what is that? One of the things is chilul Hashem. Right? A person makes chas v'sholom. A person makes a chilul Hashem. He desecrates Hashem's name, right, in public. Right? He desecrates Hashem's name in public. This person can do tshuva, but it's not going to be erased until the day Misa is mechaper. His death will be mechaper. Here we're learning that how wonderful it is when a person lives his life in the way to know that I'm trying to bring more kvayit shemayim. I want to bring more kavod to Hashem, not to myself, to Hashem. I'm trying to bring the kavod to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's my tachlis, that's my purpose in life. Sheyagia mizeh kavod laHashem yisbarach ulevatel gavosay v'kvoidei al atzmai legamri. And we're supposed to nullify all of the desire of kavod, of taiva, of all of the things. We're supposed to nullify it from us. He should always do his things in the way of mishpat. And anyone that damages in this, this is the crooked judgment. Crooked judgment. Why is it crooked judgment? Because again, the person's supposed to always weigh. He's supposed to always weigh. Is this that I'm going to do bring kavod shemayim? Is this going to be something that I'm going to do that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to like that I'm doing this and he's going to be happy with this? Or chas v'sholom, is this something that's not going to be something that Hashem likes and therefore the person will judge and say, I will not do that thing. The Kohen Gadol was the greatest of the Kahanim. He was the greatest of the Kahanim. He wore 8 vestments. Let's talk about his vestments now. Okay, he wore 8 garments. Shmeina begadim. Right? Shahayu yikarim miyoid. These were very, very, very precious garments. Val kulam hachoishin va'efoid. Shahayu bohem avonim toivois yikorois me'oid. Right, the Choshen had the on the breastplate. You had the 12 stones, precious stones, very very precious stones, and on each stone it was written the names of the Shvatim. Right, written the names of the Shvatim. Altogether, you had 50 letters. You know that there were 50 letters altogether in the names of the Shvatim. If you add up the names of the Shvatim, you'll see it comes to 50 letters. Isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting? The Shiftei Ka comes to 50 letters.
Yeah.
Interesting, right? Very interesting. Again, the 50th gate. Coming to that Shara Chamishim. So the Kohen Gadol, he had the Choshen and the Ephod, the Avonim Toivos Yikaris. VaKohen Gadol Nosa Al Kol Zeh Al Liba. He carried all of these things on his heart. To know that he should keep in his heart that it's the kavod of Hashem. This is not my garment. The garments that the Kohen Gadol was wearing didn't belong to him, right? They weren't his. They belonged to Klal Yisrael. They belonged to Hashem. They weren't his. But he's wearing it to keep his heart in check. He's supposed to keep his heart in check to know that I'm doing this for Hashem. L'sakim bezet tavas anegidus v'ashirus sheshom ikra achizas hageyas. When he wore it on his heart, he was actually protecting the hearts of Klal Yisrael, keeping the hearts of Klal Yisrael away from Gava, from Taiva. when the Kohen Gadol, the holiness of the Kohen Gadol, right? The Kohen Gadol was very, very holy. The Kohen Gadol was not able to marry an almon and a grusha. He can only marry a besula, right? Right? And the Kohen Gadol was very, very. He had special things, right? The Kohen Gadol, right? The Kohanim were able to be right. Who he was able to be to mitame if let's say a mother and a father died. There are very different laws for the Kohen Gadol that pertain to the regular Kohanim, right? The Kohen Gadol was on a different level, was on a much higher level. He carried on his heart the Choshen. L'sakim b'zeh tavas hanegidus v'ashiras. All of the ashiras that was neged, that went against the covenant of Hashem. Shesham ikra achizas hageis. That's where, when the person has too many things, that's where the haughtiness comes from. We said that that's very dangerous because, again, we say Hashem molach geis. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is wearing the garments of Gava because HaKadosh Baruch Hu, all of the honor belongs to Hashem. So if a person comes along and he says, I'm going to take some covet for me, Hashem says to him, really? You're taking my covet? You're taking my covet? What the person's really doing is putting himself in the spotlight, right? We don't want to be in the spotlight. No one wants to be in the spotlight. We want to be together with everybody else, part of the Hamoinam, rest of the people, right? But if a person goes and he goes in the way of haughtiness, what he's doing is he's shining the light on himself. He's shining the light on himself, and then he gets judged. Who wants to be judged, right? Does anyone want to be judged? No, we don't want to be judged. Right, we don't want to be judged, right? So what do? We stay away. We stay away from the gaiva, from the haughtiness, because if we do that, chas v'sholom, we get put in the spotlight. Sheikach is also hu ba'begodim, and the main thing is with the garments, the vestment, the person wears. That's why the Kohen Gadol wore it on his heart, because whereas all the gaiva and everything comes from the heart. So he wore it on the heart, l'sakim b'ze'ivas ha'mishpat, to fix the crookedness of the mishpat. Ba'afal pichein gam ha'koyin gadol b'shosh shenichnas lifnai v'lifnim. And even the koyin gadol on the holiest day, at the holiest time of Yom Kippur, was the koyin gadol able to wear his gold and his fancy choshen when he went into the Kodesh HaKadoshim to sacrifice the Ketores? No. He had to take them off. He only wore the simple garments like the regular Kohen did. Why? Because when he's coming into Hashem, he's coming into HaKadosh Baruch Hu in the Kodesh Kadoshim. There's only allowed one time a year. You're allowed to go into the Kodesh HaKadoshim, and he had to be on that level. He had to be on that special level to be able to go into the Kodesh HaKadoshim successfully to come back out. Correct? He couldn't wear these garments. You ever think of that? That's amazing, right? He always wore all year long. He wore the Shmoyne Begadim. Comes Yom Kippur, the holiest day of the year, the holiest day. No, take them off. Take them off. You can't wear them. Is that interesting? Is that interesting?
Yeah.
He only wore his white garments. When he went into the Kodesh HaKadoshim, he only wore the white garments. Shezeh bechina shafilu hakoyin gadol shelovash begodim yikorim elu. Even the Kohen Gadol, the holiest person of all of Klal Yisrael, the person that's on the highest level, that's able to enter the Kodesh HaKadoshim on Yom Kippur, that even this person, this high person that always wears this choshen, sheyesh b'hem zov avonim toivos, b'kedusha gedoyla, he would always be in the highest level of sanctity. The Kohen was always go to the mikveh. He was always holy. He was always on the highest level. The Kohen Gadol. B'kedusha gedoyla. Afal pichein lifnai v'lifnim b'mokim tachlis ha'kedusha al-yoyna. But when he's coming into the highest place of kedusha on this world, that's the highest level of kedusha on this world. right? There are 10 levels of Kedusha, right? The Gemara talks about that. There are 10 levels of Kedusha, right? The highest level is the Kodesh HaKadoshim. When? On Yom Kippur. That's the highest level. The highest level. Tachlis HaKedusha Yoina. Also gam hu lichnois bohem. Even the Kohen Gadol is not allowed to wear the gold vestments, the gold and the precious stones when he goes into this place, to the holy of holies, when he enters the holies of holies. Because again, we want everything white. Everything white. We want forgiveness. We want the forgiveness. White means forgiveness. And we want to be connected to the Tikkun Elyon. And all times our garments should be white. What does that mean? Our garments should be white. It means that we're supposed to keep ourselves free, that we don't use money that's not ours, and we don't take money that's not ours and to use it in a different way to buy our garments. We want our garments to be clean. That means we earn it in the rightful way. We earn what we have and we use it in the right way, and we don't wear things that are not befitting for a Jewish person to wear in the gather of tznius, in the gather of modesty. Shezeh remez shafilu tzadikim hagedolim sheyicholim la'avoid es Hashem Yisborach hayedei zov avonim toivos. Right? Even the great tzadikim. There was some tzadikim like the Rishna. I don't know if you ever heard of the Rishna, the holy Rishna. The Rishna, he served Hashem in the way of Malchus. Right? The Rishna had a lot of gold. He had a lot of gold, and he had even a pair of gold shoes. He even had a pair of gold shoes. He had a pair of gold shoes. That so much so, it was so uncomfortable for him. He did it mamish that when he took off his shoes, his feet would be bleeding. They were not comfortable. Listen, today, would you want to wear a pair of shoes that are made out of gold? Right? Would you rather wear a pair of, maybe a pair of tennis shoes, right? Some tennis, you'd be a lot more comfortable, right? Right? I know you get some, what kind of shoes you like to wear, like New Balance or something, one of those things, like one of those type of shoes. You get a pair of shoes, you're comfortable, right? That's what we want. We don't need no fancy things, right? But the word tzaddikim that did go in this way, and they did have zohav avonim toiva. Okay, fine. V'afal pichein yesh gava me'al gavoya, right? Gavoya me'al gavoya sheshom also lichnois pozeh. Right, let's go to the next page. Here we go. And I think we'll have enough time to finish. Well, this is wonderful. Wow, look at that. Okay, here, let's move this over. Here we go. No, wait. Did I get the wrong? Let's see. Give me one moment, gentlemen. This is it here. Yeah. Here. Okay, I got the right one now. Okay, I'm sorry. Open up to the next slide. Ki'im bechinas begodim levanim mamish. Right? That's what we're supposed to wear. Simple things. Begodim mamish, begodim levanim mamish. Clean, white clothing, clean, nice clothing. That's a clothing that the person's going in the gather of tznius. V'sham iker kaparis v'slichas kol avoynes liyisrael l'tar oisam b'shleimas achizosam achizos habegodim atzoyim. Right? That, in other words, really we have, there's a concept known as the begodim soyim, the soiled garments, soyim, because soiled garments. Where does the concept of soiled garment comes from? Sin. When the person does sin, right? But we want our garments to be clean. We want our garments to be white, fresh and white. We don't want to have soiled garments. Soiled garments mean we have sin. That's why the Kohen Gadol on Yom Kippur, he would wear his begodim, the white ones, to show that we're clean. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu will forgive us. She'ikar, his garbus hayedei geias v'kavod, because the whole gaiva and all of the judgment comes when we try to take on the kavod of Hashem. When we try to take on the kavod of Hashem, and then they start to look and they try to say, who is this that's taking the covet? The covet belongs to Hashem. Like we said, Hashem Malach Lavish Geyas. HaKadosh Baruch Hu rules and He wears the garments the special garments. It's Hashem that does that, not us. Someone that wants to live his life. He wants and desires life. A person can learn from this a lot. To nullify our own haughtiness, our own desire for haughtiness, chas v'shalom, ulechalkel devara b'mishpat, and weigh all of his things in mishpat in the right way. In other words, all the things that we're going after, all the things that we're trying to do, we're supposed to always do it in the way of mishpat. We're supposed to do it in the way, we're supposed to judge and say, am I going to be giving more kvayit shemayim, or am I going to be taking covet for myself? If it's taking covet for myself, I don't want it. I want to only bring more kvayit shemayim to the world. And this is a very, very important lesson that really fits in so beautiful with the parsha. Really to understand the crux of the idea of what the vestments really were of the kohen. And we learned some nice things over here, right? We know that the choshen, they were able to ask questions to the choshen. You know that? They were able to ask the question, and then the letters would light up. Did you know that, right? The letters would light up. Amazing. What technology, right? That was the first technology, right? Right? He made I guess you call it the chest plate. I don't know what else you would call it, right? He wore it on his chest, right? And there were the stones on there. And he would ask the question to Hashem. And then Hashem would give him the answers. The letters with the stones would light up. And he would give him the answer. But we know that really over time, that the Klal Yisrael asked Hashem, should we go to battle? Should we not go to battle? Right? They asked Hashem, should we go to battle? And sometimes the Choshen would tell him, yes. You tell him, yes, go. You want to go to battle, go to battle. We didn't ask the Choshen, are we going to go to battle and we're going to be successful? Should we go to battle? In other words, when you ask something, you have to always ask the question in the right way, very, very, very precise and very, very defined, right? We're talking about here this thing of mishpat, the vara of the mishpat. Why the vara of the mishpat? Because again, our words have to be very, very, very concise, very, very. Now, again, this falls into the idea of the whole thing of speaking lashon hara, right? When a person chas v'shalom speaks lashon hara, so what do? He's making an ivus a mishpat again. So what does the Satan do? The Satan takes the words that he said. He said, the Shimon did this and Shimon did that, and and he's going on and on and on and on, right? So you ever played a game of Scrabble? You ever played that game of Scrabble? Yeah? Right, Scrabble. You take all those letters and you can make new words, right? Make words, right? So you know who plays that game of Scrabble and who played it first? The Malach HaMavis, the Satan. He did that first. He played that, he made that game. It's not a game that they made in America. That's a game that was started up in Shemayim a long time ago. What he does is he takes the words of the Lashon Hara, says the Chavetz Chaim. He takes the words of the Lashon Hara, and he takes all of those letters that all of the person he was talking for 5 minutes, right? And he was talking about all these different things. He's talking about all of the different things about the Lashon Hara, right? He's talking about all these different people, right? So the Satan takes all of those letters from all of the words that he spoke, right? All of those letters and all of the things that he spoke. And what does the Satan do? He takes it and he scrambles the letters, and he makes a case against the person that spoke the Lashon Hara. You hear that? He makes a case against this person that was speaking the Lashon Hara. Oy, vay, 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 vay. That's what we have to understand. L'chalkel devara b'mishpat. We have to be very careful. What are we saying? What are we doing? Are we doing things and bringing more kvayit shemayim? And this is really what the whole lesson is. And this is really what it's all about. And I wish mamish with all my heart that our government here in Eretz Yisrael would learn this concept here. It's not about gaiva. It's not about gaiva. We're not going to be successful with gaiva. We have to all connect to the Ratzon Hashem. Right? That's what Moshe Rabbeinu was trying to help us, and that's what the whole light of the candles are, and the oil, and that's why one of the reasons why we start the parsha off, we talk about Parshat Tetzaveh Bnei Yisrael, what on the Zayis Shemen, right, on the Zoch, that it has to be very, very special oil. Very, very special oil. We use only the first drop of each oil, of each thing, right? Why? Because these lights that were lit by Aharon HaKohen with his high level of kedusha are still connected to us today, because it says the Mishkan when it was built, and the Mishkan when it was disassembled, and even when we don't have it, it was destroyed. Right? When we don't have it, it was destroyed. You see how important the Mishkan is, right? We learn out there was a beautiful story. There was a beautiful story with Eli HaKohen, right? We'll finish with this. We have maybe 2 more minutes. You give me 2 more minutes? Can I have 2 more minutes?
Yeah, okay.
So we know that there was Chana. Chana was very, very, very distraught that she didn't have any children, right? So Chana went to the Mishkan in Shiloh, right? The Mishkan we know was in Shiloh, I think, for 390 years. Is that correct? 390 years the Mishkan stood in Shiloh. Okay? You can go there today. You can go to Shiloh today. I was there, Baruch Hashem. You can go to Shiloh. Okay. And she was in the Mishkan, and she was davening Shmon Esrei. Eli HaKohen, again, Eli HaKohen, the great tzaddik, right? The Kohen Gadol, Eli HaKohen, right? The great tzaddik, the teacher of Klal Yisrael, said, get out of here, you're a drunk. Get out of here, you're a drunk. Why? She's standing there talking to herself, it seemed like, right? It seemed like she was talking to herself quietly. No one heard anything. But Chazal, when a person speaks to HaKadosh Baruch Hu in that way, where do we learn all the laws of Shmon Esrei? From the way Chana davened her Shmon Esrei, where Chana was lechalkel devorav b'mishpat. She was very, very careful what she was saying, and she said it in that way of tznius. And Chazal learned out all the laws of Shmon Esrei from Chana. And who was Chana's son? Do you know who Chana's son was that she got from her tefillah? Shmuel Hanavi. Shmuel. None other than Shmuel Hanavi. The greatest of the great. The greatest of the great. So I wish everyone that we should have a beautiful Lechlige Shabbos, a beautiful lit up Shabbos. And it's very apropos to say a lit up Shabbos this Shabbos because of the Parsha, right? And we should understand how important is what we say, that even Moshe Rabbeinu said, Macheni na mesifrecha, and that's why you will not find Moshe Rabbeinu's name in this Parsha. You will not find his name. So be careful what you say, and always give the covet to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We should all hear Besorah Tovot. We should hear good tidings. And I thank everyone for joining. And Mirz Hashem, we'll meet again next week.